say, now listen to this statistic by the World Health Organization. 1 in 4 people around the world are suffering with mental illness. In order to give that a bigger look, 450 million people. That's according to the World Health Organization. And tonight online on Your Say, we are asking you, who is to blame for the rise of suicide among teenagers? Is it the internet? Is it parents/guardians? Is it peer influence or other challenges? Make sure you jump onto our Twitter handle at KTN News, at Zinzi_K, and at Brian_Aseli, and we'd love to hear from you. But first, let me introduce you to our panel this evening. That is the question as you're seeing on your screen. Who is to blame for the rise of suicide among teenagers? Here in the studio with us, we have none other than Dr. Oscar Githo, who is a criminal psychologist. Karibu.
Yeah, forensic psychologist. Thank
forensic psychologist.
Thank you.
And next to Dr. Oscar, we also have Evelyn Kasina, who is also a cybersecurity expert. Good, thank you so much for coming. Brian Aseli.
Kwa si upande yangu iko na joto mingi. Wacha nianze na right next to me is Pastor Sophia Mbevi. Somebody say glory.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And of course we have Steve G, who's he's a coach, entrepreneurial coach. Na pia ni mzazi.
All right.
Karibu sana.
And also joining us on phone, hopefully when we get her also, is someone who we're going to call for the sake of hiding her identity. It's Rachel. Rachel has also suffered from mental illness, or rather something such as depression and anxiety is what really led her to want to commit suicide. And she's had the courage to tonight to be part of this panel. But again, to conceal her identity, she'll be joining us via phone or rather by phone. And we're going to give her the name Rachel for the sake of this interview. Let me begin with you, Dr. Oscar. What is it about the likes of Blue Whale Challenge, GTA, that are so captivating, that makes us want to play, that they're so thrilling? What does that do to our mind? What is it?
Well, thank you so much, Zinzi, for having me and the rest of the panel on your show. First of all, the idea of Blue Whale Challenge and other video games, it's about developmental stages of where people are. What captures someone's imagination has to do with fantasy worlds, living something beyond yourself, and something you can actually identify with and probably want to be part of, even if it's not part of your reality. Remember that people also are suffering from many other things, and not just mental illness, but just hardships at home. Probably parents are not understanding each other with their children, friends are not even communicating. And especially now that we have a lot of internet, like connectivity, social media and all that, people are interacting online more than we used to when we were growing up. So I think being captivated by it is not a problem, because it's actually a generational thing. It happened even when we were growing up. In the 1980s, early, I don't know where you guys were, but that's when the first consoles came. And the first console was called Atari, and Atari captivated the whole world. So the idea that, that is not a problem, because it has its uses. For cognitive development, there's also for solving problems and all that. When we talk about things like the Blue Whale Challenge or Grand Theft Auto or other like violent games, that's when now we have a conversation.
Okay, Pastor Sophia, is there some spiritual connection to all of this? Because, I mean, it must go deeper.
Thank you. What I would say is this. I think the young people are looking for heroes. And I think the thing about all of those things is that there's something heroic. You're being dared to do something that is bigger than you. Yeah. And I think from parenting, from schooling even, it's like there's nothing to aspire to. There's nothing for young people to look up to that is bigger than them. I mean, the people who really, really work hard, I mean, they say that good girls or good boys finish last. So there's no motivation for you to be good, to be nice. And whatever it is then that looks evil then is the attractive thing. It is what people get drawn to. Yeah. So I'd say it's lack of an ideal that people need to look up to the young people.
So it's the bad boy, bad girl character attitude that really makes it look appealing when it's really not appealing.
I think so. Yeah, and it's heroic. Yeah. It's actually heroic.
If you're an expert, you're a cybersecurity expert, how did this come into our homes? In the sense that, don't you not think parents should be more attentive, putting up firewalls at home, having talks with their children? Talk to me.
Thank you for having me on the show. We live in a generation where technology is at our disposal. I mean, and we cannot blame our children because they came to the world and found microwaves, dishwashing machines. They don't know our traditional way of how we grew up.
True.
So if, for me, I feel like all this technology it's fun. It's what is the in thing. If I need to fit into the society, I need to have the latest technology. I need to know what is trending. Because there's a lot of pressure, especially for teenagers, to feel that they're up there. So for even parents to just be acknowledged in the society that, you know, you're trending with all these things, we are the ones who are not giving children this technology. We are the ones who are paying for the internet and stuff like that.
Of course, before tuende kwa call, tuongee na Rachel, ningetaka kuongea na Steve G. Basi watu wana complain, wanasema ati ni hizi jobs zenye tunafanya ndo zinafanya tuko in touch na watoto wetu. Ama si watoto wetu na watoto as a parent, this sijakuwa mzazi bado. But wanasema ati una work 8 to 5 job, unaka 5 to 8 traffic, unafika home umechoka, unalala, alafu replay. When do you create time as a parent to make sure that you monitor what your kid is doing on the internet?
Thank you for having me on your show. I think the bigger challenge is that for this generation, it is said, just like you said, we are too busy. So what we are doing is that we are parenting by abdication. We have given up the parenting role from the family, and we've given it to the school, to the nanny, and to other people that have different values than we have. So I think over the years, what has come out is that for most parents, on an average week, the amount of time they spent engaged, like you're asking, where now your child learns about who you are, your values, your identity. This is who we are as a family, where the child gets an identity that's anchored to the family, has dropped.
Yeah.
So currently, it's about between 45 minutes to an hour per week, not per day,
Per week. All right.
So if you're engaging with your child for 45 minutes to 1 hour, who's speaking to the child for the rest of the time?
All right.
And that's why now issues like internet come in.
Let me bring in Rachel. Rachel is one of the confident individuals who decided to come on the show by phone. And Rachel, which is not her real name, it's the name that we're using to conceal her identity. Rachel, for you, you've been really battling depression as well as anxiety at a very young age. Do your parents know about it? Have you talked to them about it?
Thank you for having me. Actually, I started being mistreated when I was very young by the help. But my mom didn't know. She only found out after she learned that the help was making me drink sangha. And then, like, when I went to school, I was being mistreated by, like, my classmates. Like, she'd write me on the noisemaker slips and stuff. And as I grew up, like, more things just came up. And I tried to tell, like, my parents I really have a problem because I was feeling like I was alone. But, you know, parents are like, no, your problems are not big enough. You know, there are people who have bigger problems than you do. Just suck it up, you know, yeah.
All right. Dr. Oscar, Rachel has just said something. She tried to tell her parents, but her parents said it's not that big, it's not a big deal. And in general, what parents will try and do, especially here on the African continent, because it's a subject that we really try and shy away from, is that you will grow out of it.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
First of all, I'd like to speak to Rachel and tell her thank you so much for being brave and sharing with the rest of the country about your situation. It's definitely a private thing, and it's also something very personal. And I think it's a big thing when someone can come on TV and share it. What's important about what she's done is that she's allowing other people who are going through the same thing to realize that they're not alone. About what parents are doing, honestly speaking, in this country, I can't blame them. The truth is that the stigma about mental health has been there.
Yeah.
And no parent wants to imagine that their child, quote unquote, has a problem.
Yeah.
And this problem that they cannot understand. You see, when you say you have a headache, a doctor comes and gives you
Painkillers.
a painkiller, and you understand that it's probably going to go away. But when it's issues, and I think Pastor can agree with me, things that are spiritual or even things that are cognitive or mental or even emotional, it's very difficult for anybody to accept. And in Africa, we have this bad word, and especially in Kenya, be strong. What does that even mean? Actually, the truth is, whenever I'm at school with my students, I tell them, what does that really mean? Telling somebody, be strong.
Kaza.
I want you to imagine, and let me describe to the country what depression might feel like. Imagine your worst day and how you felt like giving up. You felt depressed. You felt like you can't go on and everything. For anybody, quote unquote, normal, then multiply that feeling by about 100. That is how somebody who's depressed is feeling daily.
Wow. Sophia, Pastor Sophia, wow, I know that is that example.
Yes.
Pastor Sophia, your comment on that, on the issue of parents saying, you'll get over it. Your thoughts?
I think sometimes we are also very clueless. And my take on that is that we go to school for everything. You go to school for your career, you go to school for everything except for the thing that is most important. And that is marriage and, of course, parenting. And you sort of parent by, I don't know, who do people look, by proxy, what are people saying? And when when we were growing up as children, we were there to be seen. We were not to have an opinion. And so as a parent, I find that I'm sort of a sandwich generation parent. I was brought up one way where I couldn't dialogue or engage with my parents. I just obeyed without question. I've grown up differently. I have a different ideal, much as I appreciate my parents. I have a different ideal for my children. And my children, the kind of things they talk about at 6, 8, 12 years, let me tell you the truth. Me, I knew as an adult. So you get asked certain questions and you're like, this script, nobody gave it to me.
True. So, and I see you two are also nodding your head. Both of you are parents. You can jump in, comment. Sure.
Actually, what I was going to say is, what she's saying is very, very interesting to me, because most people who are going through depression, you actually get to know at the very last steps. So for her, she's very brave. She tried to say that I'm going through something. Many kids nowadays, you'll realize if there's no computer at a central place in the house, they're all scattered in the rooms. Everybody is in their room, including us parents. We are the ones who are on our phones. So I keep saying, when a monkey sees, a monkey does. Monkey see, monkey do. If my kids see me, I am constantly on my phone. Don't expect anything less. That is what they will do. And addiction now comes in that way.
But jobs zetu zimefanywa in a way that kila kitu imekuwa packaged for the phone, for the internet. Like
but
sahi kila mtu anaambia go check your emails.
There's time for everything.
Yeah, unaona? True.
Yeah.
But sasa umefika home, boss wako anakuanda na kuambia mazijo kesho kuna presentation na nimekutumia email, check your email. Kitambo angalie email, umeanza kufanya references kwa YouTube, umeanza kufanya mtoi anakuona ndio wewe unafanya job ni kitu constructive, lakini mtoi wako ajui hivyo. Don't you think parents wanaweza step in? Steve G utaniambia, don't you think parents wanaweza step in wakamwambia watu mazijo unajua kitu unaangalia kwa YouTube si kitu poa, hebu angalia kitu fulani yenye inaweza kusaidia.
But before you even tell your child that what they are watching on YouTube is wrong, do you know?
Do you know that they are watching?
There's a whole disconnect between what the child is going through and what we as parents are going through. And I'd like to say that to a large extent, most parents are trying to do the right thing. We grew up in a generation where we didn't have a lot, so we are overcompensating by giving it to our children. But what we've done is that we have given them all these technology and gadgets and released them to be engaged by that. You don't know your child. I have a teenager. My daughter is 15. And sometimes I sit down and I look at her and I try and picture who will she be at the age of 25? What's my role in creating that? So if the boss demands extra time for you, how do you then come and sit down and say, these are our values, so I'll need to manage my career. I can get to a point where I say no for the sake of my child. Your child needs to know that they come first. Because if your child comes second or third, itafika mahali father anijui, mother anijui. And then that's when now we have a disconnect.
Okay, before we come back to the conversation in studio, a silly street sense.
Nakwambia, each and every week, sisi huenda kwa streets. This time round tumeenda Eldoret to make sure that we get in contact na youth wa Eldoret. Wacha tuangalie watu wa Eldoret wanasemaje juu ya hii story.
Utapata vijana hawaulizi wazazi wao chochote kuhusu maisha yao. Generally they just go to the internet or confirm other than their parents. In short, they have trusted the internet more than their parents.
Problem na youth ya sahi, I think is the parents, because the parents wamwachilia vijana wameenda far nao. Sasa watoto wanachiga na tabia ingine ambayo sio mzuri. Kama ukiangalia mtoto amepelekwa shule ya boys, anatoka ya boys, mtoto anaanza kuwa na tabia nyingine ya kuwa na vichana kwa vichana, unaona? Ajui feelings ya wasichana. Sasa tunataka wazazi wakae na watoto yao pamoja nyumbani.
Kuna vile ma youth siku hizi wanaona wazazi ni kind of outdated. Mambo na digital wanasema. Ukijaribu kupata ushauri kutoka mzazi, vijana wanaona like hiyo ushauri I apply in this current life, unaona? Sasa wanaona like nyinyi wazazi mnatupea advices zingine outdated, haiwezi tusaidia in the current lifestyle, unaona? Alafu story na internet sasa hapo ndio unajua watu wana interact, watu wanaona vile watu wanaishi places zingine, so wase wanaona like wana adopt hiyo lifestyle za watu wengine. Unaona watu wanataka kukaa kama watu wa majuu, unaona? Hata dress code inaanza kuchange, unaanza kupata mambo kama my dress my choice, unaona? Ni kwa digital tu yani.
Wazazi wameachia watoto freedom yenye imeenda sana. Whereby unapata mtoto ako class 6 na kuna simu kubwa tu yenye mtoto anaona vitu mingi yenye hata imsaidii. So imefika to an extent whereby ukiambia mtoto hii iwezi kukusaidia ama umnyang'anye hiyo simu, mtoto anaamua yeye akufe kuliko akae bila simu.
Kama kawaida, Eldoret has spoken. Of course, Twitter poll question yetu ni very simple. Ni actually questions mbili. Tunauliza who is to blame for the rise of suicide among teenagers? Tunauliza ni internet, ni parents or guardians, ni peer influence ama other challenges. Alafu question number 2 ni do you think mental health is taken seriously in Kenya? Why? Yes, no, it depends. Na kama ina depend, of course, unaweza sema comment yako on Twitter, utuambie exactly kunaendaje.
All right, speaking of comments, let me just read one here which is going to prompt the next question. One says here, suicide is generally a symptom of an underlying mental illness. Then there's one here that has really caught my eye. It says, that's why we have parental control features. Games like GTA have age limitation. It's up to the parents and the guardians to control access. Evelyn, all right, now this is the thing about this question that I've really liked from that specific tweet or comment. The internet is here to stay. It can be like a blade. You can use it for good or bad. As parents, what can we do, or as guardians and big brothers and sisters, to make sure that we are saying, yes, you know, go to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, etc. But how do we begin to put up safe walls?
Say the internet is just supposed to help you go by life, not help you like it's not a necessity in life. Parents should not feel like I need to be a technical guru to help my children understand what the internet is all about, but you need to invest in what your children are consuming online. That is your sole responsibility. Just the way you go out of your way to put a camera in your house, to put the physical security, the virtual security is your responsibility. The government can do so much. If you see what Ezekiel Mutua did by banning from the ISP level, it's not enough. As a parent, you need to investigate, seriously investigate what your children are doing online. By first and foremost, trying to understand what is it that, if I give you this gadget that is going to the internet, what is it that you really do online? Let me know, let me get interested in it. So if it's fun things you can do with, say, your baby girl, go on YouTube and start looking for cookery things, start engaging your kids in that sense. But then again, you can now look for professional help for people to put filters that will help you block unhealthy sites. Because you realize very many parents actually don't even know there's YouTube for kids. Then they just know there's YouTube. You understand? It takes a parent who is very intentional about parenting to actually get to the level to know that I can filter such kind of things.
I like that, be intentional. Yeah. Dr. Oscar, though, as parents, we need to draw that line, or rather we need to start having that conversation of teaching children deliberately, intentionally, right from wrong. So when you do release them into the world, you have that confidence that they'll be able to make the right decisions.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I think that part of the problem here is like we're looking at technology as the enemy. The truth is that if a child is trained in the proper values at home, chances are they will not go to explore it for themselves.
Okay.
Because mom and dad have already talked to you and told you that these things, you know, why you shouldn't access some things or why you shouldn't do that. So the filters, I agree, should be there. But at the same time, a bit of trust also, because again, it's about age limit and all that. How is your child translating your instruction? And also that is something we need to know, monitoring. Are the values you're trying to instill in your children translating? And then also, let me, no, you're right. I'm sorry, but let me say something else. Just a final one for me. Also, parents today need to also remind children something or to teach them something. Can we become real friends? You see, your Facebook friends are virtual, majority of them. But how about being a child with that friend who's real? The problem is, with those virtual friends, you also go through the same heartbreak, you go through the same disappointment. If someone deletes your account, you're dead. And that's why you find someone suffering in their bedroom. Sawa, poa.
Rachel, unanisikia? So nakuuliza, wewe ulijuaje, what do you think is the cause of your problem? Like you nini stress unapitia?
A lot of things actually, because you know, like people feel really alone because you don't have friends. Like plus other things like I don't know, but it's very hard to say.
Let me ask you, Pastor Sophia, what is your comment on that issue of, that Dr. Oscar has said, teach a child the right ways, because I saw you nodding, and they will not flee from them.
Yeah, I actually think that the spiritual connection to this thing is that teaching your children, introducing your children to faith actually gives them a grounding. And not just, just talking through scripture. I'm a Christian, so we talk through scripture with my children and ask, how do you think that applies? So I think what we need to do is not refuse our children to watch whatever it is that there is, because you cannot protect them all your life. At one point, you have to release them to be out there in the world. So you teach them to question.
I like that. Okay.
Teach them to question.
Please hii swali very fast. Tumeongea na Rachel sahi. Na unasikia anasema sometimes you just feel alone. You teach them all these things, but they do them alone. And when they go out there, wanna feel left out because wamelan kile dada anasema. And when they get to their peers, it seems not so fun, not so cool. Comment on what Rachel understands.
I think it's about a sense of identity and a sense of being anchored. And even, I think sometimes as parents, we need actually to give our children permission to fail forward. Yeah? Because when we are overprotecting them, we're not giving them the skills to face evil, to face bad things, and actually come through them. And then also, not judge them. That one thing we tell our children is that I love you very much. I don't want you to go this way, but I want you to know that whatever you do, you can still come back to me.
Of course, discussion unajua lazima iishe kwa sababu we have other segments. And this week, of course,
at corner.
Yeah, at corner. This week nilikutana na the winner of TPF5. Ruth Matete amekuwa amenyamaza sana, but tulimpata na akaweza kuongea na sisi about some of the things that she's doing. Udem decide kufanya business on a whole other level. Check it, Ruth.
I had this idea of starting up the school, and so this is what I started up in 2016. But after I did music from 2014, and then that 1 year I was working somewhere else. So that's why probably you haven't seen me much in music, because I decided to concentrate on the school. Not that I have forgotten about music. In the first, I think, already 5 months of starting the school, I remember I told my guys, you know what, I'm done. I had to learn how to read. I don't like reading, let me just be honest. I don't like reading, but I had to learn how to read. I had to learn how to read books that helps leaders, books that have been written by CEOs who started from nothing and now they own some of the biggest companies. I had to learn a few things from them, and I realized it is discipline, patience, and consistency that will make anything grow. I started it because I realized that people who have passion out there, but they just need someone to give them the skill, the basic skills, and then they can go ahead and further their knowledge on whatever they have chosen. So we teach keyboard, we teach guitar, saxophone, violin, drums, DJ, music production, and voice coaching. And all those courses just go for like 3 months. I have seen people who could not hold a note. Now they're able to do harmonies, they're able to sing and with keeping key. So what does it take? It takes passion and it takes consistency and it takes the willingness to want to learn. So those are the things that I check. You can come here and you're a good singer, but if you're not determined, that's the best you can be. You can just be that good singer. But you can get someone else who didn't know nothing at all, but because of their consistency and their passion to become better, they actually leave this place better people. And I have had those kinds of people. There are those who come and you're like, this is gonna make my work easier, but then others you feel like telling them, I think you need to pay more school fees, you know. But what do? This is a person who has passion in it. The thing is this, we always say it over and over again, that these leaders are friends. And we actually see them. Politics is just like business to them, and they're doing this for their own reasons. But outside politics, when you meet them, they play golf together. They will not come play golf with you. You understand? So what I'm saying is, let's keep peace for ourselves, for our families, for our friends. Let's do a peaceful voting, not because that leader didn't do this, not because this leader comes from my tribe or this leader did this and that, but because we just want peace for our country. Another thing I would say, if there was an option of just removing everyone and putting some other new people, then we would see change. It is only a foolish person who will do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We cannot have the same people over and over again and expect change.
And of course, mnaona hiyo maneno vile imefanyika hapa hivi, we have to say goodnight because of time.
I know. All right. First of all, but before we do that, thank you so much, all of you, for coming out, and especially Rachel, who's been joining us by phone to really talk to us about her state of mental health. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. Find someone you can confide in, talk to them, and let's keep this conversation going. Of course, here on Youth Cafe, it's one of the things that we'll also keep doing. I'm going to share every one of the Twitter handles of our panel, and you can always reach them out, talk to them if you feel like you need someone to talk to. But until next week, Friday, it's good night from our team here on Youth Cafe. Make sure that you have yourselves a safe evening. Up next is Friday Briefing. My name is Zinzi Kibiku.
And the hottest man in East and Central Africa. Big thank you to our producer, Crystal Onkeo, alafu director yetu pia na cameraman. We have to continue with that, but then nakapua because of S-Mode collection, thanks to Stefan. Asante sana, have a good night, same time. Next week we meet.
No, we are off. It's okay.